What is up, guys? Welcome back to DC Extra. My name is Chris, and today we're going to be taking a look at episode 8 of Naomi. As always, before jumping into the breakdown of this episode, I do want to include a spoiler warning for this and any previous episodes. Now, as the previous episodes have started, we start with a recap of the previous episodes and the storylines that they left for us to pick off in this one. And getting into the new content, we see Naomi and her friends playing some mini golf. And while there, Naomi's enhanced hearing starts to play up, which freaks her out a bit. Back at home, Naomi prepares some food for her parents' anniversary, and her parents want to cancel the party because they are worried about Naomi. But Naomi makes a slideshow.
I'm making a slideshow.
Naomi then hears her parents considering leaving Port Oswego, which Annabelle isn't too happy about. But Naomi ends up seeing their point and considers leaving to protect her friends. This ends up being a pretty common theme throughout this episode, so definitely remember this. Naomi continues training with Dee. Zumbado also shows up and doesn't seem to approve of Dee's training style and believes that it will not be enough to prepare for Brutus. When Naomi gets home, she hears something up in her room and discovers that the disc has been stolen. Speaking with Annabelle's boyfriend, whose name is Jacob, he tells Naomi and Annabelle that Star Labs has developed a way of detecting aliens and that he has also been working on something similar. This ends up being used a bit later on. Naomi meets up with Zumbado to train, and he wants her to fly, but Naomi isn't ready for that, as we've seen previously when Dee started training her. Anthony and Nathan go to the comic store for their community service, and the guys try to get out of the work, which inevitably fails. Back at Star Labs, Naomi investigates something and ends up finding Jacob there also doing the same. And while at Star Labs, while Jacob is in danger of some falling debris, Naomi saves him, revealing herself, and he thinks her having powers is quite awesome. I think we can all agree with him on that. The next day, Jacob questions Naomi about her powers, but she doesn't want Jacob to let Annabelle know that he knows, in an attempt to keep her safe. But they are terrible liars, so Annabelle is bound to find out. Back at the comic store, the guys find Lourdes' personal comics and find out that she's going to sell them to keep this store in business. Back at Naomi's house, her and Jacob science the shit out of some tech and make something that helps them track aliens.
I'm gonna have to science the shit out of this.
They find there are 4 within Port Oswego, that being Naomi and 3 others, presumably Dee, Zumbado, and someone else. Speaking of Dee and Zumbado, they meet up to talk about Naomi's training, but Dee thinks that her training should be taken at a slow pace, but Zumbado believes they should speed things up in order to get ready for the coming threats. Meeting back with Naomi and Jacob, they follow the tracker to where the alien is supposedly, but they end up getting to a storage unit that is filled with Naomi's old things, as well as a bag full of cash and a fake passport. Naomi confronts her parents about this, and they explain to her that the military suspects Naomi and her parents of something, and that they may eventually find out who she really is. Nathan and Anthony end up hosting a Lord of the Rings themed gathering at the comic store in order to raise funds for the store, but Lourdes ends up closing it down and completely disrespects the guys and their attempt to help her. Annabelle finds out that Naomi has been lying about what her and Jacob have been doing throughout the episode. Naomi explains that she didn't want Annabelle getting hurt because she cares about her too much. But rightfully so, Annabelle feels quite betrayed that Naomi made the decision to exclude her and didn't let her make the choice herself. Dee and Zumbado meet again to discuss Naomi's training. Discuss being used quite loosely as they fight to see whose style is better. In the end, neither end up winning, and it was a way of proving a point to Dee. Back at the comic store, Nathan and Anthony leave the profits from the earlier trivia to help out Lourdes. Dee and Zumbado again meet. This time they make an agreement that Naomi's training must be somewhere in between their 2 styles, and a combination of them in fact. Nathan, Anthony, and Lourdes all apologize to each other and reach an agreement to work together. Getting quite a lot of agreements in this episode, looks like. Naomi apologizes to Annabelle for leaving her out of the loop. 2 then get a message from Jacob, so they then go to talk to him. Meanwhile, we see the military going into Star Labs, presumably to gather some evidence as to what occurred here. And as we know from previous episodes, this is where Naomi and Zumbado were held, and where she displayed her biggest show of powers yet. Jacob shows Naomi and Annabelle that the other alien that they had been looking for is in fact at the party. This party, of course, being the one they are at currently for Naomi's parents' anniversary. And that is it for this episode. Definitely some interesting stuff going on here, especially with this whole new alien thing at the end of the episode. And as for who it is, I don't really know who it could be. I know in the comics, Naomi's father is actually an alien, so maybe they're going down that route, because that would make sense that he's at the party. But it could also be someone else, maybe even Brutus or one of his followers. But that is for us to wait and find out until next episode. So I hope you did enjoy this episode. If you did, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more content like this. And if you have any feedback, leave it in the comments below. But until next time, this has been Chris, and I'll be seeing you.